Hello everyone, it's Nick McDonald speaking. Thank you very much for joining us for this week's Russell 2000 and Equity Markets Commentary. Now, just in case you didn't watch my other video on the US dollar index, please go and watch that. I talk about the US debt announcement this week a little bit more than I plan to on this video. However, just very briefly, in case you only watch one video and not the other, this week I am going to be looking at the charts technically as if that news is not coming out, however being fully aware that fundamentally there is a huge piece of news coming out from the US Congress, and it's likely to have a major impact on the markets. And when that news comes out, nobody is going to really care what the technicals are saying. So it's almost impossible to guess exactly what the news will be. It's likely they're going to come out with some kind of relief plan, some kind of improvement. However, we cannot guess exactly what the impact of that will be on the market, and I don't intend on guessing on this video. So what I do is intend on just showing you exactly where the market is technically and how it looks technically. And just making an assessment as to what the market is likely to do based on that, and just keeping in the back of our mind that that announcement could come out and have a major impact and change the technicals very quickly. So starting here with the Russell, and starting with the monthly chart, we're still uptrending on the monthly chart. We've put in this recent higher low. We should have pushed on to new highs. We didn't. There's quite a lot of uncertainty out there, but it doesn't look bad, and it could pull back quite a lot further. Even back into the region of 730, 700, it could pull back all the way to there and still be well and truly maintaining an uptrend. So even though we might have turned a little bit bearish in the shorter term, in the longer term it hasn't really changed things. Actually, I'm going to skip the weekly for a second and come back to it. So just coming and looking at it in that short term first on the daily chart, this is where we have changed the trend. We have put it now the lower high than the previous, broken down to a lower low, and we're coming down and coming up to the support, which actually we'll see more clearly on the weekly chart. So let's come and look at the weekly, and you can see we had a good amount of support through here around 765. We've now put in this lower high. If we can break down through that, it's starting to look like a quite a significant reversal there on the weekly. But like I said, it can pull all the way back down to 700 and even lower, and still be maintaining the monthly chart uptrend. So longer term, we're still okay. In the shorter term, it's certainly starting to look a little bit more bearish. On the daily chart, we're in a confirmed downtrend now, and the weekly chart will be in a downtrend if it can break down through 765. For now, it's just holding on. There is one glimmer of hope there on the daily, and that is that 800 is also a key level, and I've marked that level there. It's there from my last video. 800 is the key level, not only psychological but also technically on the chart. And notice how when we broke down below this just last week, we completely rejected the lows and we came back and closed just below it. Any break up through that would not only be a break this week up above 800, but a break up through a very bullish candle there from Friday, and that would be quite showing some significant strength and showing signs of a push up. There's a little bit of a glimmer of hope there, and otherwise what is looking quite bearish on both the daily and weekly charts. Coming and just having a look at the indices, because the Dow and the S&P kind of back it up and are looking quite similar there to the Russell. Here's the daily chart for the Dow. It's made an equal high here, broken down to a lower low. It's looking somewhat bearish. The weekly chart as well, though, it hasn't turned to downtrend yet. It has made a lower high. And on the Dow there on the cash market, we need to see it break down through this previous low to confirm the downtrend. So we're not there yet. It's certainly looking a bit bearish. We haven't confirmed the downtrend yet, so it's too early to say to call it one. And equally on the monthly chart, this is still in a good strong uptrend. And even if it pulls back, it could pull back significantly further. It could pull back almost right back to 11,000, and it wouldn't even be a major pullback. That would only be about 50% of the move up. So if we drew a Fibonacci line from the low up to the high, even if it pulled back 50%, there's around about 11.2. It could pull back to that magical Fibonacci number of 61.8%, and that would be all the way back to about 10,900. So it could pull back all that way and still not even be considered any change of trend. So it's too early. I don't like it when I see the press and the media start calling tops in the markets when we just see these little sell-offs. It doesn't mean much at all at the moment. It could pull back a lot further and still continue in the uptrend over the coming years. So Dow very much like the Russell, extremely similar. S&P extremely similar again. We've made the lower high, the lower low, changing trend on the daily. However, we're still intact on the weekly. In fact, when I say intact, I mean we haven't changed to downtrend. We're not in an uptrend either, because we've put in lower highs here. We just haven't made the lower lows to confirm a downtrend yet. So we've just gone into a period of no trend across these weekly charts. And same as all of them, the monthly chart looks really strong. The monthly chart still looks bullish and is showing no major signs for concern. There's one exception, and this kind of fits in with that little glimmer of hope for a move up that I discussed on the Russell. And that is that the Nasdaq is the exception to the rule, and the Nasdaq is still uptrending even on the daily. Our most recent high was a higher high, and at the moment we haven't made any lower lows. We're still making higher highs and higher lows, and this daily chart is still in an uptrend. And even on the weekly chart, we just pushed up and made a new high. And coming and looking at this on the monthly, it still looks pretty bullish. Sure, this broke up to new highs and is now rejected. In that respect, it doesn't look so good, but it looks a lot more bullish than some of those other markets that we just looked at, some of the other major index markets. And even in the shorter term, where the other ones are looking the most bearish, the Nasdaq is actually completely contradicting that and looking bullish. So coming back and having a look at this on the Russell, and thinking, how could this affect the markets this week? We really we know that this debt news is coming out. We know that there could be a big move either way. Even if it was a move down, I believe while in the shorter term there'll be an impact on the markets, if we get a move down, I think the market's going to find some support down around 735 to 700. That's really where I think the market will find some support, where I would be looking to start adding to much longer term positions and waiting to see how the candles turn around. And if they turn around at those levels, if they do, I'd be looking for those bullish positions. The weekly chart is going to give us a run down to that kind of level. If we start to break down through these lows, then there could be shorting opportunities on the way down. Again, we just need to wait and see what happens. I'd like the news to be out first, but any breaks down through 765 could be quite bearish to at least a move down towards that kind of 700 level. And just coming back to the daily chart for an upside move, it's a little bit early this week, and it might be too short a time frame to really be able to get much of this. But like I said, this really bullish candle that occurred on Friday, any break up through there and up through 800 could be giving just the signs of a good bullish move to the upside, even if it's just a short-term one, about the same length of that candle, which is about 20 points. So even just for a move up to about 820, that looks on the cards early this week. If we can just break up through that high early in the week, probably it would need to be happening on Monday or Tuesday, and for a push up. Ultimately, though, there's some technical views on where I see the market that it could be heading this week. Please just bear in mind, a US politician is likely to come out and make an announcement any time this week between now and probably the next 48 hours, and it's likely to have a big impact on the markets. And when news that big comes out, technicals are ignored. After that, the same levels will be apparent. So after that news comes out, these levels I've marked in the charts and the areas and the zones and the highs and the lows, they are still extremely valid and extremely apparent. They'll just be ignored within the first few minutes or few hours of the news coming out, and that's where the risk lies this week. Happy trading all. Hope you have a great week, and look forward to assessing the impact of any debt announcements next week and looking at the charts with a fresh view.